Da-na-na, da-na-na.
Da-da-da. Shit, sorry.
Okay, anyway, welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, everybody? If you've watched any of the fantasy shows so far this year, we just wanted to go over, our point system is different from the NFL's fantasy league, so people that have been in my leagues, you know that. And this is for Meade Fantasy Football and the Pigskin Outlaw leagues. We have Steven, two-time champion, coming back into the league this year. And Corey, defending champion. He's going to be the first one to get our trophy that we'll be handing out yearly. But we'll jump right into it. Our league is driven by touchdowns. So as far as quarterbacks go, there were 12 quarterbacks that had over 30 combined touchdowns last year, passing and rushing. We'll just go over some of them and giving you a heads up. I'll run down them quick and then we'll discuss any that might be a surprise. But it was Cam Newton, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Blake Bortles, Carson Palmer, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, Eli Manning, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Derek Carr. They were the only quarterbacks that had over 30 touchdowns.
I don't agree with the placement of Eli, but
Eli was a little bit higher. One thing though with fantasy football, you got to think about rushing touchdowns and passing touchdowns.
Well, Cam was on top.
Yeah, you got to look at, for me, the big two this year, going to this year. Of course, Cam Newton's going to be number one. And number two, I got to say Russell Wilson. He had a stretch last year, 7 games, where he was 4 or 5 touchdowns a game if you look at rushing and passing.
He ended strong.
Definitely.
Well, he had 34 passing and 1 rushing last year. Cam Newton was the only one over 40.
Wow.
He had 10 rushing and 35 passing.
Wow.
The most passing touchdowns were by Tom Brady, who had 36, but, we all know he's going to be out for the first 4 games, so where you draft him, that'd be to each his own.
Yeah.
But I think somebody like Matthew Stafford, I'm not so sure he's going to be in that class this year. Because, no Megatron, and
Right, yeah.
He has to help.
Reshuffling the receivers,
Yeah, I think guys like Matthew Stafford, I think the Blake Bortles, even the Drew Brees, honestly, this year, I think Brees might take a big step back this year.
Yeah, I don't got Breeze ranked as high.
Definitely, I'd stay away from those guys. A guy I think is going to make a big step this year and try to prove himself is our smart guy, Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think he's going to have a really big year this year. He's got some weapons.
And he didn't get the contract that he thought.
He's going to prove that he's the guy.
I still like Blake Bortles.
I agree with you. I think
that young man with those young receivers.
I think
Allen Hurns is great. Allen Robinson, obviously.
Yeah.
Robinson is a beast. But I can't judge a quarterback like Blake Bortles off of 1 year from one really good young one.
Well, I think it's progression. He's gotten better, but they got 2 good young wide receivers. And don't forget, they got Julius Thomas, who came back from an injury, came on strong. And what's the back they picked up? Didn't they pick up the Jets? Did they pick up Ivory?
Ivory.
Yep. Yeah, they did. They picked up Ivory.
So and him and Yeldon, that's going to be a pretty good.
But as a guy that had Ivory last year, about the last 6-7 games of the season, he was a nobody. He had about 9 good games. I got two good games out of him myself. I think I picked him up week 7.
Well, I'll tell you what, I got Bortles ranked probably around my top 5 for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I just think he's going to.
So do I.
I think that offense is going to be good.
On this list here, he's 4. I don't think he's going to have a terrible year. I don't see him throwing 35 touchdowns. I think 28 to 30. I think.
Well, he threw 37 last year.
He threw 37. Well, he ran for 2.
Oh, ran for 2. So
yeah.
he threw 35 and ran for 2.
I just personally, I don't see Allen Robinson getting another 14 touchdown year. I think he's a really good wide receiver. I just know how a lot of these wide receivers are. Unless you're a special talent, after you have a big year like that, you tend to struggle.
Yeah, but I think Allen Robinson, since he walked into the league,
the real deal.
Is the real deal.
I think he's a stud.
I think he's a top 8 receiver.
Yeah, what's your thought on Kirk Cousins?
My thought on Kirk Cousins.
Last year, 29 touchdowns passing and 5 rushing, which put him at 34.
Well, when they drafted him, I immediately, and this is no joke, I said, wow. Because I had a feeling that Cousins was going to take that job. Just because of the way he played. And he seems to be a smart quarterback, get the ball out of his hands. I'm just hoping that being a Giant fan, that he just doesn't, perform as well. Because
Well,
if he does,
they got white great
right.
playmakers
Yeah,
at
oh,
the
yeah.
position.
And the wide receivers are strong.
And that's what I was
Yeah,
going to say.
and tight end
Yeah.
and Jordan Reed.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
one
yeah.
thing I was going to say. If you describe Washington, you got to say weapons.
Right.
And another thing too, a lot of people aren't going to really pay big attention to. Dorial Green Beckham, he may have mental issues. The guy's a head case, but that's a big dude. That's a Plexico Burris type wide receiver.
The only thing that might hurt them, Matt Jones at running back, nothing after him.
Yeah.
If they have
Yeah,
any
that's true.
problems with him, I think the two guys they have behind him combined might have around 200 total yards. So,
I did think it was a bigger deal than people made letting go of Alfred Morris. I mean, you got to think 3 years ago the guy was over 1,000 yards.
I'm thrilled he's in Dallas. I think
that's
we
a big pickup.
we got a
The
game.
guy can move. He's one of the better zone running backs. For a big guy like that, he's one of the better zone running backs in the league. I thought that was a big loss.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. But my top, I have Cam Newton ranked number 1 and Aaron Rodgers ranked number 2. Now a lot of that Jordy Nelson hasn't played, should come back,
Yeah, he's
but
talking about,
we'll see. I think.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have a big year. My only thing with Aaron Rodgers, I like how you ranked him second. A big thing I see every single year, like last year, they had Aaron Rodgers and then everybody else. Aaron Rodgers is the best overrated quarterback I've ever seen. He's a great quarterback, but they put him in a league of his own. He's really not. He's the second or third ranked.
Then if you look at QBR minus last year, he's on a 3-year stretch that. I mean, stat-wise, he's
up there.
he's up there. But I agree with you. But
Yeah, but then to say last year you rank him way above a guy like Tom Brady who's in there every single year. You know, there's other quarterbacks out there, and I know how you feel about Tom Brady, but there's other quarterbacks out there, and just if you look at every single fantasy, every single ranking of quarterbacks, they put Aaron Rodgers and then everybody else, and I think every year he's basically had a lot of really good weapons, and I think he's a great quarterback.
Right.
But I think that top 3, you have to keep them together. There's not much separation.
I know. Brady, you know how I feel about Brady, and he's a great quarterback. I don't look at him as the GOAT, but he needs, if he's the one quarterback that if Gronk goes down, he's not the same. His stats are going to plummet.
Oh, yeah.
He
for
needs
sure,
the
yeah.
6
Oh,
foot.
yeah.
The best year he ever had was when he had Randy Moss.
Yep.
When you could throw it up and say, "Go get it, boy."
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, I mean, and that helps. Hey, Randy Moss made Dante Culpepper a Pro Bowler,
Yep.
so that says it all.
Right up there, you see Dante Culpepper.
But on quarterbacks, you know, they're the 12 quarterbacks that had over 30 touchdowns. We're going to jump to running backs. Running backs that had a total of double digits touchdowns. There were only 7 of them. Freeman of Atlanta, Adrian Peterson, D'Angelo Williams of Pittsburgh, Todd Gurley, Johnson of Arizona, Lamar Miller. Who did he go? Is he Houston this year?
Lamar went to Houston, yeah.
He's on Texans this year. And Jeremy Hill of Cincinnati. They were the only ones that were in double digits. Any surprises?
Well, I think that Cincinnati will have to run the ball more this year due to both their wide receivers.
Yeah, with,
And
after
also,
AJ Green, they ain't got.
So I think
much
they're
of
going to have to.
anything.
So Jeremy Hill may have a better year.
Yeah.
After that,
Mhm.
I pretty much I think that Freeman will be okay if he can stay healthy.
But Freeman, there's a back in Atlanta that's going to be taking some carries from
Kelvin
him.
Coleman at
Yeah,
IU.
yeah, very
He's
talented,
really good
explosive.
really good running back.
Yeah.
And Freeman did grind down at the end of the year. He had an awesome, I
Oh,
think,
yeah.
9-10 games,
Yeah,
but really wound down. Adrian Peterson, he's up there every year. But this year I have AP, for me, ranked 2.
Oh yeah.
My first running back would be Gurley.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I just don't think they're going to have a quarterback outside of Tavon Austin. I don't think
Not
they
a
got
whole lot
much
of
at wide
weapons, you're right.
receiver. And who's starting the season instead of the rookie?
They're gonna. What's his name? Oh man.
What?
You remember who's starting for the Rams
Yeah.
quarterback?
Oh wow.
What was his name?
But
man?
it's a veteran who's really a backup. He's not a
he's
starter. So
nobody.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
but-
Gurley and AP. Now, like Pittsburgh, D'Angelo Williams, I wouldn't have guessed. If I had to guess that list, I wouldn't have guessed him on there, even though Bell missed 4 games last year. And again this year, he's going to be missing as a 3 or 4.
Three.
3 or 4. At some
Three.
point, man,
They
you gotta
reduced
look.
it down to 3.
Yeah, at some point, you gotta look at this guy and be like, man, is he really a football guy?
Yeah,
or
talented.
where are you,
I mean,
you
he's
know?
talented out the ass, but
Last year I was with him. This year I'm not. It's like, man, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
come on.
I don't understand how you can make millions of dollars and do that. But
yeah. Hey, it's all you know. You want to smoke weed? That's
that's
great.
great.
But if somebody's paying me $1 million plus a year, guess what? I can wait.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know what I
Let's play
mean?
football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I do think even all the experts have Ezekiel Elliott of the Cowboys ranked 4th overall on ESPN's fantasy.
Right.
Hasn't played a lick, but you know, behind that line with everything,
Yeah.
you know, we'll have to see. But he's
Yeah.
talented. In his preseason game, he looked good against Seattle.
I picked Randall last year, I think in the 5th round, because it doesn't matter really who the running back is. As a Giants fan, New York Giants all day. Ezekiel Elliott, he's going to have the best chance of any rookie running back just because he's running behind that line.
McFadden on bad legs rushed for what, 1,200 yards last year?
It's terrible. He had a great year.
So-
So.
And that was without them having any quarterback. Dak Prescott should be an improvement over the other guys from last year.
I say if you need a running back, you're in the middle of the 2nd round, maybe early 3rd round. I think Ezekiel Elliott might be a good choice for you.
Well, I have him 4th on my running backs.
I'm thinking Gurley, and then maybe some Peterson. Other than that, it's a passing lead. It's so hard to
I
gauge who the
still
running back's
think-
going to be. It's
Well-
a reach almost for anybody else.
And it's a lot to systems.
I think
Yeah.
that Elliott gonna get a lot of carries now that Tony's all the way out.
Yeah, I think that just added like
Yeah.
5 to 10 carries a game.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think there's
definitely.
A lot of carries.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then, wait, Alfred Morris might get some carries there too.
Yeah, well,
Well,
I still-
they got a
yeah.
lot of backs there.
Oh
and
yeah.
There was I can't think of his name right now, but a little quick skip back like a Dave Mega got hurt last year in week 7 for the
Oh,
Cowboys.
and he was a beast.
And he was having a great year. Out of the backfield, 3rd down
Oh, yeah.
back.
Yeah.
I mean, they're covered in running back, so
Yeah, I
we'll
wish
see.
I could remember his name. He's a bad dude.
Yeah.
He might be a sleeper. If you're a late round guy, he
Yeah,
might be
just to
somebody
have
look
a
at.
back
We
to
can't
throw.
remember his name, but everybody knows who we're talking
Right,
about.
right. And remember, when you're on our league page, go to the settings so you can see what you get points for. That way you're not always calling me, not always calling Chuck asking somebody. Check out the settings if you think it'll help in your draft. We're going to jump to wide receivers now.
Lance